So I am recording live now on YouTube, and later on we will also be recording on the podcast, but you can always join us. Please feel free to join us live on facebook.com/Lillian's radio show. Today we are talking with Matt Bellis of Liberty Health Share at the beginning of the class, and then we're going to continue with Dr. Jennifer Gramith, ND, and we're going to be talking about how the coronavirus and everything that's happening, how it's affecting our emotions and how our emotions affect our lymphatic system. So fasten your seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together. It's time to dance. Time for those moves, Matt.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and my viewing friends. It's so nice we can get together here on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, please know that I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends on facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, for the last month, we have been really focusing on how to build our immune system, how to build, because of the coronavirus, everything has just taken a back seat. Many of us are unemployed. Many of us are displaced. I can't go back to school. There's so many things that are going on. This is affecting us in so many different ways. It's affecting us, spirit, mind, and body. But what happens when we're in go, 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 go mode and still ignoring the signs that there's a lot more we need to deal with, and how it affects us. And today we're going to talk about how this coronavirus has affected not just us as a body, but businesses. Matt Bellis is here from Liberty Health Share to talk about how the coronavirus has affected their members, their business, their employees, as well as Dr. Jennifer Gramith, ND, who is back to talk to us about the lymphatic system and how our emotions affect our lymphatic system. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that both Matt Bellis and Dr. Jennifer Gramith are here to do just that. Welcome, guys, to the classroom.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was like a woof, trying to get us on the air today and get us recorded so that we could be on podcast as well. And so let's just start with Matt. Let's start with what's going on with you guys with Liberty Health Share, which, by the way, Liberty Health Share is a proud sponsor, or I'm a proud recipient of their sponsorship. And I'm also a member of Liberty Health Share. So share a little bit about what's going on, Matt.
Well, it actually has been a shock to, I think, all of our systems. And there's not a person in this country, or frankly, the globe, that can say they have not been affected by the coronavirus in some way. Yeah. And so absolutely, we are a part of that as well. Internally, when it comes to our employees, We have sent a lot of them home. They have their Chromebooks and their cell phones, and a lot of them are taking calls and taking care of our members that way. And a lot of our folks in our call center, people who are looking to join as well, are taking phone calls from their house. It really has changed the dynamic of how we are working as an organization. And just like everybody else, we ask for patience. We ask for understanding through this time. We want people to be able to get their issues resolved and taken care of, and people who want to sign up as well. We want to be able to help them during this time. It may take a little bit of extra time to get those issues resolved, but we're here for our members as well as the public who wants to join us. We've actually seen a spike in people who have lost jobs or have been displaced or want to still take care of their family and are unable to do that with their old healthcare system. A lot of people have been asking about joining Liberty Health Share, and so that's a new frontier for us as well, where we're having to work with folks who are in different financial situations because they may have lost their job, and we're happy to have them as members. It's just a new dynamic that we're working with as well. Our members have been asking about what we do as an organization when it comes to the coronavirus. What special, what special measures are we taking to make sure that we're sharing in medical bills that result from testing or actual treatment? And actually, I'm proud to say that we've done nothing. Because we didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to have an act of Congress or a call from the president to see what we're going to be doing to take care of those types of costs, because we already took care of those kinds of costs.
Yeah.
We're a post-a-bill, post-assessment type of organization where those types of costs are already built in to what we share. We don't work on actuarial tables. We don't try to predict the cost of healthcare. We just come as it is. We negotiate. Our members are working on the front lines if there's any kind of problems or issues when it comes to billing. But we're here with our members to work with them, to negotiate with them and for them. And we're here to share in those medical costs as they come up. So I'm proud to say we didn't do a thing.
It's just like when we said, okay, open enrollment is done. Now what?
Yeah.
You have open enrollment all year round.
Exactly. So for the coronavirus, yes, it has affected us. But more than anything, we're glad to be one of those businesses that are still open, here for our folks and here for anybody who wants to join.
Well, this is what's beautiful about this time. Many people have lost their jobs. And well, let me finish what I'm about to say, because that sounded like it's beautiful that we've lost our job. No, that's not what I meant to say.
Cut it off right there.
I know I can't. I got to keep going. It sounded better in my head, Matt. So because of that, many have to go into COBRA if they have insurance, and COBRA is like twice as much as what they're paying already. I remember that happened to me, and that's what led me to you Liberty Health Share. And so I remember it was going to be $1,200 a month, and we weren't even paying. We had to still pay a copay. We still had to pay a deductible. We still had to pay, but we still had to pay all that. And when I learned about Liberty Health Share, I felt I had nothing to lose. I had everything to gain. And so by stepping towards Liberty Health Share, I was able to reduce that $1,200 bill to $200 at the time, and now it's to $300 as it is for a single person. Because once my husband was able to find a job or get a job, he was able to bring me on for $500. So instead of $1,200, it would have been $500, and now I got full assurance that I've got someone backing me with $1 million incidence per incidence with Liberty Health Share for just $300. And so let's talk a little bit about what Liberty Health Share does. And by the way, if any of you want to learn more about Liberty Health Share, you can go to libertyhealthshare.org, and we can also talk to Matt. So tell us about why this is so affordable.
Well, actually, it's interesting because Liberty Health Share was started with the idea that a community of people who are gathered around certain ideals, sharing in medical expenses or just sharing together our burdens, can do far better
Mhm.
than overly complex and bureaucratic healthcare systems and models.
Mhm.
That your friends and family and neighbors can help you in a better way than a bureaucrat 3,000 miles away.
Sure, sure.
And because we have put the power of the purse strings back in the hands of individuals by having them be responsible self-pay patients who are working in conjunction and voluntarily sharing with one another, we're able to save a lot of money. We're able
Mhm.
to give you back the power that you need within your healthcare, give you choice and freedom that a lot of people need. We're actually seeing in this time of the coronavirus a little bit of the ridiculousness, frankly, that we have backed ourselves in when it comes to bureaucratic medicine and over-regulation and ridiculous licensure and all these kinds of things where we're seeing that really we just need to have our healthcare bills paid for,
Yeah.
and we need to be able to make decisions based on our healthcare. So now a lot of people are asking the questions: why am I restricted from going to this hospital to that one? Why can't I see that doctor rather than that one?
And
Why
why
can't
can't I
I
go to a naturopathic doctor
why
or
can't I go to a naturopathic
yeah.
doctor? All of these questions that a lot of people may have had in the back of their mind have come to the foreground of their mind because we're starting to ask questions of more effectiveness and efficiencies. And, it seems silly to, you know, outsource my decision making to somebody who's not even in the exam room with me. So
Mhm.
really, we're taking that approach where individuals working in concert with one another, voluntarily interacting with each other, sharing medical bills, and giving power back to the individual patients can do a far better job at managing the cost of healthcare than bureaucrats 3,000 miles away. And that's what we have seen.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding.
That's right. And I've been with a member at Liberty Health Share for 3 years now. And so I pay $300 to be a member. And once my non-shared amount is paid, $1,000, then Liberty Health Share and all the members, they share willingly in my visits and wellness visits are covered, right? Are helped. You don't
Wellness visits are a part of the eligible expenses for share amounts.
allowable
Absolutely.
expenses. And so if you're a single, it would be 300, and it's if you're a couple, it's 400. If you are a family of 3 or more, it's 529. Did I say that correctly?
You got it.
Awesome. Finally, after all this time, I finally, and it is beautiful. And it's not like I'm knocking to my neighbor and saying, "Hey, can you lend me $1 because I need to pay for an MRI?"
Right.
The way you guys do it is very unique, different than any other health share that's out there. Most other health share, Matt, are all about catastrophic. You guys are
Yeah.
all about life.
Well, thank you for saying that. And we want to make it an effective, efficient way for people to take care of their health care, give them the power back, and know that their money is going towards other people rather than bureaucratic and executive golden parachutes. So,
Yes. Yes. And for those of you who want to learn more, you can go to libertyhealthshare.org, or you can go to 855-58-LIBERTY. That's 855-585-4237. I'm so grateful to Liberty Health Share. And as you know, Matt, I absolutely love all of you. And so is there anything that you'd like to share with us before we say goodbye?
tough times right now during the coronavirus. I'll echo something that I've been saying for a while, is that this is the time where we need to find the reserves of grace, of patience, of kindness, dredge those up and give those in abundance, because we all need it right now. So it's better to give those things and receive them later than vice versa.
Well, I really do appreciate you and Liberty Health Share and everything that you guys are doing to bring back to take back our health. I mean, with all the insurances, I know it was just a difficult decision for me to make, even though I was paying so much and I wasn't even using it because I have a kind of a little bit of a spend or a bias towards natural and holistic. And I know that all of you have been there for me when I went through my major surgery just recently. And I'm so grateful to everybody at Liberty HealthShare. So thank you, Matt, for everything that you guys are doing to help us bring our control back for our health.
Thank you so much, Lillian.
Yes, and that's libertyhealthshare.org. That's 855, and I've already got some people saying, and Margaret, I'm glad that you're going to check them out after the classroom. So it's 855-58-LIBERTY, 855-585-4237. Thank you, Matt Bellis of Liberty HealthShare, and for everything that you're doing. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're going to switch hats. We're going to switch gears because now we're going to talk about the emotion. You heard, you know, Dr. Gramith, you're not just someone that is a naturopathic doctor. You specialize in lymphatics. You train other doctors, specialists and clinicians and how to do this for themselves and others. And so with this coronavirus, you're hearing it's happening everywhere. It's affecting everything, every part, every organism of our life. And so how is this affecting you? What are you seeing today? And how is it affecting us?
Well, I think it's affecting me like it's affecting everybody else. You know, one thing that I've experienced and that my patients and my practitioners all over the world are experiencing is a heaviness. And, you know, I was on a walk the other day and listening to another podcast, and the guy that was talking about just the emotion, you know, the stress that people were going through. And it came to me that, you know, this is the emotion grief. So we are grieving as a country and as a world. Everyone in this world is grieving right now. So that is that heaviness. That's where that anxiousness comes from. You know, pre-COVID-19, we're like, yeah, let's go. You know, you have dreams and aspirations, and you're ready to, you know, tackle the world. We had so many things coming up and so many plans and planned out things for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, now we're planning from day to day. So right now we're in the midst of COVID-19, and then there's going to be the post-COVID-19. And so I think as practitioners, we're having to kind of lay aside our old school methods, okay, of patients coming into our office, sitting down, us looking over them. We're doing more telemedicine or telewellness. And I think it's great. I am actually very excited about it for myself. It's very convenient for clients. It's absolutely necessary if you're going to, you know, survive as a practitioner post COVID-19. But I wanted to talk today about the stages of, excuse me, the stages of grief that we're all experiencing, because that kind of tells you where we're headed. So I think if you become mindful of this and you know your body and you know what you're experiencing, you know which stage you're in, and you know that you're almost to the end of it, okay? And there's a horizon or a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think we need to have that hope, definitely need to have that hope. So I am actually excited about what the future has to offer, especially with waking us up as a people on the importance of taking care of our bodies. You know, because right now, you know, the talk is, you know, if you have a compromised immune system, you're at risk. Well, 6 out of 10 Americans have a compromised immune system. They have at least one chronic disease process. 4 out of 10 have more than one. That's according to the CDC. And so it's a big problem. And so we wouldn't be in this state, or we wouldn't be threatened by this invisible pathogen had we have a strong functioning immune system. And so you have to ask yourself, why do I not have a strong functioning immune system? Or ask yourself, how do I know if I have one? Because you may not have a diagnosis of a chronic illness yet, but you may still have a compromised immune system. You just haven't received the diagnosis.
Sure.
And so I'm going to share with you a tool that I use with my practitioners of how I test to see where their immune system is. And I look at the emotional components. I look at 6 different lenses on the person's immune system of what could be suppressing it. And then we can help them to correct those and protect them from not just the COVID-19, but any pathogen. Because we have to think, this COVID-19, this strain of corona is deadly. But we have to also think about, well, what is it going to morph into? Is it going to be less, or is it going to be more? And so you can't just, risk it. You have to take care of your body. Your only chance of survival is taking care of yourself. And that gives you back total control. You don't have to be dependent upon the government coming up with a vaccine or this or that. And so you can just know where you lie. Where is your immune system now? Is it functioning at 20%, 50%, 100%? And what's stressing my immune system? And we look at that by looking at how their lymphatic system is functioning, because your lymphatic system is the structure that holds your immune system. It's the key. It's definitely the key.
Interesting. As you were speaking, I remembered a comment that you made last time you were in the classroom. And you said that we talked about the lymphatic system that's, right below the skin. And you had made a comment that 80% of the lymphatic system is even deeper than that. That the skin is only maybe 20%. I don't know if I've got the numbers correctly, but what I'm saying is that is so symbolic of how many of us are feeling right now. Many of us are just like on the surface trying to, keep going, like the hamster in the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
But that will eventually create a stress within us if we don't stop and deal with it. If we don't stop and say, okay, if my emotions were like my lymphatic system and I am in denial, or if I am in grief, how do I deal with it? How do I know? How do I know this? So what are some of the tools, Dr. Gramith, that you use to say, okay, well, let's get out of denial? Because telling somebody they're in denial doesn't get them out of denial. It puts them into a deeper denial.
They dig their feet in. So you're talking about the different stages of grief that you feel. The first stage, like you said, is denial, and then anger. And we've seen that. People are angry about what's happening. And then they go into this depression. They feel so overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. And you're seeing a lot of that. And then we start bargaining. We start saying, oh, well, okay, I'm going to give up this. I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to let go of this, So we start trying to bargain our way through it. And then the last stage of grief is acceptance. And so once you come to the stage of acceptance, you can actually move forward and you can prosper physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so those are the different stages. Now, I use a Zyto biofeedback test to determine what emotions my clients are struggling with that are suppressing their immune response. Yeah, exactly.
Give myself a high five.
No needles. Yep. It works off the central nervous system. It's biofeedback. It's been around for years. Very effective. And they actually have an immunity panel that looks at your functions of your organs and glands associated with the immune system. So we're going to look at the respiratory system. We're going to look at detail at the lymphatics. We're going to see, is the thoracic area blocked? And that's the exiting point of the lymphatic into the circulatory system. We can actually see where the blocks are in the body. then we can look at and see what emotions are triggering the inflammation and causing the blocks. So whether it's anger or disgust or frustration or depression, it doesn't matter, but we can see that on this type of scan. So do you want me to show that now?
Well,
Lillian?
you know, interestingly enough, I just want to share that we tried to download my little handset that I have, the little hand cradle, but it was too late. I really would love to do this with you, maybe discuss it on the air. Maybe we can give it away to in the future to someone who wants to try this. But
Most
what
definitely.
I find fascinating is that you can do this remotely.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's my specialty is helping people to overcome an immune challenge. And so whether oncology is the field that I mostly work in,
Mm-hmm.
my patients are typically stage 3, stage 4 cancer patients, or they're chronically ill with heart disease, Lyme disease, so they're immunocompromised galore.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I help them to figure out what caused their system to shut down and why they're immune compromised. It's always a combination. It's a complex situation. It's emotions. It's emotions. It's environmental toxins. It's genetics. I look at all of that. That all plays a role in it.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, this immunity biosurvey is a shorter biosurvey than my big comprehensive that I do for those patients.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you just a good look at what's going on with your body, and then what are the best immune supporting supplements or therapies for you, personally.
Okay.
And because right now you're hearing, oh, take vitamin C, oh, take zinc, oh, take that, all these different products, and they are great products that support immune system, but it may not be the one that you need. Depending
Correct.
upon your diet. So,
one size does not fit all. I said that yesterday with Dr. Lorraine Day, and she said, well, but the body needs, everybody needs, certain things from the body. So let's talk.
What things and how much? Yeah.
Yeah. So are you going to be able to share?
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Right
so what
here.
she's going to be doing, she's going to be putting like the results on the screen so that we can record it and you can see it along with us. And that way, this is a nice teachable moment. There we go. Let's take a look at what you got there.
All right. So this is it's called the Foundation for Immune Wellness. So it's all about the immune system. So this is just looking at the body through the lens of the immune system and what's impacting it. So with this particular client, she had chronic weakness in the gut. And what you had spoken about at the last class that I talked about was that 70% of your lymphatic system is directly underneath the skin. That's the superficial lymphatic system, which can be easily stimulated with dry brushing, massage. But the 30% of the lymphatic system that lies in the gastrointestinal system holds 80% of your immune system. So if you really want to impact a person's immune system, where are you going to go? You're not going to go to the superficial necessarily. You're going to go to the gastrointestinal. And the technique using the XP2 machine that I have developed it addresses both. So you get a full session. It boosts your immune system 200% each time that you do it, because you're increasing the circulation of those T cells, B cells, macrophages, your army of defense. And so that's how we impact the immune system through the lymphatic system.
Nice.
All right. And so you can see negative numbers on the scan will indicate more long-term, more chronic issues. So I know just from looking at this part of the report that she has chronic breakdown in the gastrointestinal system. But it goes even deeper than that. It tells me where, okay? And as we get further down, her immune system chronically weak. Well, that can be genetic, or that can be just long-term abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I know it's chronic. The lymphatic system shows to be inflamed, okay? So because it's a positive number. that means that she has inflammation. That tells me as a practitioner, her body is fighting off infection currently. Okay, so it's something acute. And I know that she was recently getting over pneumonia. Okay, and you'll see that through here because that was the bacteria that shows up still in her lungs and still in her intestine, and that's causing some bowel blockage. So it all paints the picture. And as we are going through this, I'm going through the report, she said, oh yeah, that's exactly what's going on with me. The mental emotional stress is a contributing factor. So all 6 of these systems are contributing to her lowered immune response. And so this has been a chronic issue with mental emotional stress. Respiratory system, she has a weakness. Well, she's has a history of having upper respiratory infections, pneumonia, things like that. So you can see that. Now, if it was a high positive, I would know that she's still very active with that bacteria instead of just traces of the bacteria. And then sleep, it's a positive number. So I know she's not sleeping right now. She's not sleeping well. Well, what happens when you don't sleep well? Your body doesn't rejuvenate itself. So I always start with working on the inflammatory process. So I would decongest her lymph and help her to sleep so that her body can heal from the chronic. Excuse me.
So while you're taking your sip of water, I want to encourage any of you that have any questions, you can type in a Q and make sure that you write your question after that. But I have a question for you, Dr. Gramith. If it's a negative, you said it was a weakness, but if it's a positive, it's inflammation?
Yes.
How do you know, where are you supposed to be a 0? Is that what's supposed to happen?
A 0 would be perfectly balanced. Yes.
Okay. So the more to the right or the more to the left is not good.
Right. And it's much easier to reverse an inflammatory process than it is to restore a chronic. So, and the way that the immune system works is that if you have inflammation, like I have inflammation in my gut, I have inflammation in my brain, your immune system is always trying to put out the fires here and here. And the chronic, the weakness in the liver or the other organs and glands, it just keeps getting weaker because you've divided the attention of the immune system.
Got it.
So as practitioners, we know that we have to deal with the inflammatory process first if we have any hopes of restoring function in an organ and gland. And so this shows you now, it's going to go through each system, and I'm not going to go through all of this, but I'm just going to point out a few things. But it tells me, okay, I know the gastrointestinal system is chronically weak, but what things in it is chronic? So her small intestine, she has terrible absorption because it's chronic. And that would be signs of malabsorption. She can't get the nutrients from the foods that she's eating, and even supplements you got to be careful with, you know, if they're encapsulated, because she can't break them down. And then you see that she had intestinal folds. She has inflammation in the intestinal mucosal membrane, which is leaky gut. And these are things I already know about her, but then you start to see emotions. So when she's feeling resentful, it's going to trigger inflammation in her gut. Whoa. So I know, and so because it's positive, I know it's something she's consciously aware of. She knows that she's resenting, and so we talk about that.
But 18 is much, well, it's different than the 63, but when you're looking at, what's the highest, can it go up to 100? What's the range?
Let me explain the range, because 0 would be perfectly balanced, 1 to 10 would be a mild issue.
Okay.
10 to 50 would be a moderate, above 50 is a major. So you will see some people have numbers up in the 600,000, okay, depending on what's going on in their body. So the higher the number, the more significant it is. Well, her small intestine, that's a huge, and it depends on what part of the body it is. So that's a huge difference in the small intestine, in the intestinal mucosal membrane. But the mucosal membrane will create a lot more symptoms. She will be more symptomatic from an inflammatory process than a chronic.
Okay.
And then, so it just goes through and it looks at each system, the immune system. Well, her
Ooh.
tonsils show chronic, and that's your first line of defense coming into the mouth. It's the sulfur sacs, and so she had them removed. So her brain says, oh, they're not working. They're always going to be chronic because they're gone, okay? And then
Well, Dr. Lee Cowden said that even when you remove tonsils, that's just like the iceberg. There's more to the tonsils. It's below. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never
gone.
Really a good solution just to remove something if at all possible. The lymph nodes, you can see she has inflammation in her lymph nodes. Your lymph nodes are your filter. This is what a lymph node, of course, a lot larger, looks like.
I thought those were flowers behind you.
No, this is my lymph node. It can be the size of a tip of a needle to the size of an olive, normal, and then it can get to the size of a softball when swollen. And so this is your lymph node. The fluid comes in, and your T cells and B cells and macrophages lay in the lymph nodes, and they attack whatever pathogen if it's functioning properly. So the fact that her lymph nodes are inflamed tells me her body is in the fight mode, is trying to fight off infection, because she'll have way more white blood cells come in here and the node will swell. Okay, that's perfectly normal as long as the lymph node swells and then goes back down. That's part of the immune response. But when it stays and it doesn't go down, there's definitely a problem. And then you can see just in the lymphatic system as a whole, there is inflammation, and you see the inflammation and the emotions associated with her immune system response. And it just keeps going through each system. This is the lymphatic system. So remember, the lymphatic system isn't the immune system, it's just the structure that holds the immune system.
Got it.
So I can see that she has blockage from probably some plaque building up in her lymph system, the fluid becoming very, very thick, maybe due to hormones or bacteria. But in the right lymphatic duct, where it dumps into the vena cava and dumps into the circulatory system. So that's the exiting point of the lymph. So from the exiting, things are backing up in her. Peyer's patches is a lymphoid tissue in the small intestine, and when that is inflamed, that can be a sign of bowel blockage. So you can see so much, as you can see, of what's going on with the person just by looking at this scan. And when I saw Peyer's patches, I was surprised, and I asked her, I said, are you having any issues with your bowel? She said, yeah, I haven't went to the bathroom in 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
And so and then later I found the bacteria that's associated that was in the intestine. So it goes through here and it tells you exactly what's going on with your immune system and why. I looked at her respiratory system, and you can see the very first thing is she feels like she has no voice.
Wow.
So there's an emotion. So she feels like typically somebody squeezing the life right out of her. And if you knew her situation, it would make perfect sense. Pulmonary ventilation, inflammation in the trachea. She actually had pneumonia in the left lung. It was the worst in the left lung. She still has residue and inflammation left over, and so forth. And so I can see all of that so that I can make a homeopathic for her and put her on whatever supplements she tests best for.
Wow.
Here's one. You asked high numbers. The pituitary gland shows at 631, extremely inflamed, which is part of your endocrine system, which has many different processes. So it's really amazing to see. And when she's stressed out, it's going to first affect her pituitary gland, which will have a ripple effect. And because it's your master gland, it regulates every other gland of the body. And then it's going to affect her gastrointestinal system. It's going to hit her immune system. It's going to affect her sleep. And then lastly, cardiovascular system.
Wow.
So we can actually see how stress attacks your own personal body. Some people, it goes straight to the heart, some people to the gut, some people to the immune. And so you can see that it's mostly endocrine with her.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are tuning in, we're discussing a report. The Zyto cradle, you can do this from the privacy of your own home, and it's transmitted to Dr. Gramith. And this is information that's coming from our system. And I don't know how we get this, but it's amazing all the information you're getting from this particular cradle. And so we're going to talk about all the specifics on it, but it's really interesting to see how thorough this is. So these are the emotions of the organ.
So now these are the emotions and the organ connection. So now I can go through and I can see she has a little inflammation in the heart. That's the function of the organ. It's a little off due to inflammation.
But it's still within, you said between 1 and 10?
It's in the mild ranges.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's not a priority. The small intestine, however, is a priority because it's above 50 and it's chronically weak. So I got to get her absorption working. But look, the emotion associated with the small intestine is hate. Okay.
Ooh.
And so at this time when she was tested, she was struggling with just hating the situation that she's in. Okay. And then a more chronic emotion that she's had for a long time is impatience. She just is an impatient person. And she is one that if you know her situation, she will come, she will get tested, and then before she even gets home, she may, read an article about a product and stop and get it because she takes like 100 products a day. Yeah. Even though I say your body can assimilate it, she has a fear and she's very impatient. So she wants to rush things up. Yeah. And so when she saw that, she's like, oh my God, that is true. I'm
curious what she thought when she saw jealousy as being one of her high,
high positive. So when it's a high positive, it's something she is consciously aware of. Now the high negatives can be something subconscious, genetically passed down. But the jealousy is affecting her eyes. And it was interesting what she said to me, the anger, the frustration, and jealousy. When she's feeling those emotions, her vision worsens.
Wow.
And so she definitely related to that. Envy is a emotion that's passed down. And so she becomes very jealous with relationships. So she wants all the attention. So it's just a beautiful thing that you can see this because if you don't know it and you can't put it in perspective, you can't heal from it. And so, but I think it's beautiful because it shows the emotions and how it's affecting the organ and gland function.
Yes. Well, this is incredible information. Now let's move on to, it's a great tool for those. And is this something that if we're not near Georgia that we can, are we able to get one of these cradles and you're able to help us?
So yeah, actually, because of what's going on, and we're trying to only bring one patient into the clinic at a time to sterilize the clinic before and after. And I do this internationally anyways, because I do testing for practitioners all over the world to set up immune protocols. What we are offering is that we will send the cradle out to the client. They do have to have a PC. Macs don't work with the Zyto software, so don't even try it. Get a PC. We will send you the cradle. You will download the app, and then you will schedule an appointment with the office. We will test you and send you the results. You'll send the cradle back. And so this biosurvey for the immunity panel is only $125.
Wow.
If you want to test several members of your family, if you buy 2, you get 1 free.
Wow.
So if you buy 4, you get 2 free. So if you're a family of 6, you're only paying for 4. And typically a comprehensive panel can run anywhere from $300 to $1,500, depending on the practitioner. And this panel can run anywhere from $200 to $500. I want to offer it to the public at a discounted price because I want people to know. I want to help take away the fear, of what do I have a strong immune system? Or, should I be out? Should I do this? And I'm not saying not to take the precautions with the social distancing, washing your hands. All
Sure.
of those are great. That's great advice, but we should never live in fear that we, cannot touch a person, or we can't, work closely with people. And because that's not sustainable. That can't last long. And so we have to have confidence that we have done everything we can to protect our body, and by protecting us, we protect our children and our family and our friends. And so it's not just about you, it's about the whole community.
Well, it's interesting that as you were showing so clearly what is affecting, and you're using this as a roadmap into their body, into what they might not be telling themselves.
Right.
That probably if you test an entire household, that every single one of them might have very similar traits, because our emotions are felt by beyond us. When somebody's depressed, it brings the room down. It brings the energy in the room, and the people that are happy, that brings the energy up. And so when you're having something like this done, it's pretty telling. You'll probably be able to know right away that this is something that you're able to identify right away if you get out of the denial and you go into this acceptance. So with that in mind, before we go into further, because I would love to have something done with me and see where things are for me. How long does this test take?
It takes about 30 minutes is
30
all
minutes.
It takes to run each panel. And you get the results back in 24 hours.
Wow. And so what I want to stop for a second before, because time has just flown today.
I know.
And I want to acknowledge the fact that, these are scary times. They are scary times, but we can reframe that and to say, these are exciting times, or these are new and different times, because those words carry less of a burden on us than scary. And so every time we use words, every time we think, we feel, we take action. And so those are the things that we discuss here in the classroom. So I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, because we don't know how long, we're uncensored and we're able to bring this program to Facebook and YouTube, and we're looking at other options. So make sure you are, and we've had so many people subscribe because of this, because it could happen that, all of a sudden there is no classroom on Facebook or YouTube. Well, where am I? So the best way is to subscribe. All subscribers have all the information, all the contact information in a single click. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com, subscribe, and while you're there, like my social media, like my follow me and subscribe on my YouTube channel as well. And so when you scroll down, and you get some free gifts. You'll find out before anybody else. And if you're a subscriber, you have already Dr. Gramith's information. And so what I want you to do is scroll down and go to my sponsorship page, my sponsors page, where these are sponsors that are supporting the classroom, that are saying, I am standing beside you with this information that is not readily available in the mainstream media. So please check out my sponsors like Liberty Health Share, Keep Me Safe Organics, and Lily Rose, because Dr. Gramith loves Lily Rose. And that's the same product. It's not the same product, but it's from the same company. Lily Rose is the retail version of it. And there's also Keep Me Safe Organics, which is for all of us to get the multi-level marketing version of it, but the products are made by the same company. And there's First Alternative Care that I've told you about, which is telemedicine, and Dr. Stephen Grable of Jacksonville, Florida. He's complementary, functional, holistic. The pharmacy in Merritt Island, who's just absolutely a wonderful place to go to. It's like a hometown pharmacy where your friends are there to waiting for you. Live Longer Medical. Live Longer Medical is making us as beautiful on the inside as we are on the outside. Ground Therapy, and of course, Brain Tap, rewriting the program. And so those are all things that Dr. Gramith also provides for her patients too, because she knows the benefit of it. And so please support my sponsors the way they are supporting the classroom. And finally, you can become an enrolled student. And by the way, whatever you can give, time, talent, or treasure, help us grow the classroom. This is information out there. I don't think there's any newscaster on television saying, this is how you build your immune system. Mm-hmm. So they're creating more fear. So I want you to know that fear is not of God. And so we have got to, the moment we feel fear, we have to stop and say, okay, how can I reframe that so that I am empowered? And I love Dr. Jennifer Gramith because that's what you do. You empower people into seeing the way that you can allow the body to heal naturally, to go back to how it needs to be. So I want to thank you, Dr. Gramith, for all the service that you do and helping others learn what you're doing as well.
Yes, thank you. And, I think we just need to keep in mind with trauma and heartache always comes opportunity to grow. And so this is a great time as a people to grow in health and wellness. It's probably exactly what we needed just to wake us up. And so, be walking gratefulness that we have this opportunity, that now we have a little more time that we can focus and get ourselves into a routine to take care of us so that we can take care of the community.
Absolutely. And if you want to learn more about Zyto or Dr. Gramith, especially now that she's doing telemedicine, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you want to get a hold of her, you can go to rightwayhealthandwellness.com. That's rightwayhealthandwellness.com, or you can call them at 404-474-2100. That's 404-474-2100, and they're in Georgia, in Woodstock, Georgia. I just went there. It just seemed like yesterday I was up visiting you guys.
I know. We missed you. We're ready for you to come back.
We're ready. We were planning on going in May.
I know.
So we'll see what happens there. But, I am just very grateful that we have this technology. Technology can be used for really wonderful things. And I remember doing Dr. Gramith didn't even know I had a little my little high five here. And so I know that we're going to have a date where I'm going to have this done. But we only have 5 minutes before we go into our little chat afterwards, our little teacher's pet corner. So for those of you who are listening on podcast, please know that you're welcome to join us at Lillian's radio show. That's in facebook.com. And pretty soon we're going to be broadcasting live on both YouTube and Facebook. And we're looking at some other options that are uncensored. So stick around and learn if there's some growth happening at this point. So let's talk about the lymphatic system. Well, we only have now 2 minutes left on the broadcast. Maybe we'll do that after we say goodbye on the podcast. Dr. Gramith, last words of comfort when it comes to how the emotions affect the lymphatic system.
I think, what I have done recently, more so than I have in the last few months, is really take some time at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day to just kind of sit with myself and to feel in my body areas that have disease, or dis-ease, not disease, dis-ease, that leads to disease. Yeah.
That's right.
If you continue to ignore it. So, just deep breathing, and you will feel areas of congestion, areas of pain. And then there's a really good book I highly recommend. I don't know if you can see that. It's the Complete Dictionary of ailments and diseases. Dr. Michelle Schrader shared this with me. You can actually look up the disorder and it will tell you the emotion associated with it. So let's say I had pain in my right knee. I could feel the pain in my right knee. Well, that has to do with mother, and it may be the direction that I want to go. I'm confused about, so I may have that symptom. But.
Well, this has been very eye-opening. I didn't know we could do this, and we're going to have a little conversation after the class with our teachers' pets. So please stay close. And Dr. Gramith, thank you so much for your advice as always. And I'm looking forward to our conversation after we sign off on the podcast. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Jennifer Gramith wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Yay.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, I want to say thank you to Victoria and Roland and Margaret. I'm so glad that you're going to look into Liberty Health Share. Let them know you heard it from me. And Fran, thank you so much. Francis, hello, Jennifer. Olivia, hey, Olivia, how are you? Beautiful. Margaret, I think I said Margaret already, but I'm so glad that you are active. And Rebecca says hello. And we have Linda Toppy and Marlene. How wonderful to see all of you guys. And so here's the deal. There's so much we weren't able to talk about today. And so if you have let's say, for example, if you have a pain in your body and you want to know, maybe Dr. Gramith can open the book and share maybe what's the unresolved issue. If you don't want to write down what body part hurts in you, then I want to encourage you to text me and I'll read it. And then I won't say who you are, but it's 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. And so with that in mind, so you said that if somebody has if they have knee pain.
Could be, yeah. So if someone has knee pain, it may be something to do with the direction that they're trying to make a decision on which direction they should go. Right side versus left side means something too. Typically, if you're right-handed and it's right side, it has to do with a male. If you're right-handed and it's left side, it may be female. So that can give you some insight. If it was my right knee, well, maybe I was struggling with, direction of where I should go as far as working with maybe my daughter, because my husband doesn't want me to, so you have the female, the knee, the direction, and the spouse. And so the body is remarkable. There's a book, and I don't have, here. There is a book that you can get on audiobook too that Dr. Schrader had mentioned to me. And I listen to this a lot when I am walking. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And it talks about that. And so the body keeps the score, whether it's an emotion that or a trauma that you've experienced, or it's generationally passed down. So sometimes we carry trapped emotions in our body because mama, had a trauma. And then the child is always trying to correct it or trying to fix the problem for the mother. And you're not even consciously aware of it. But it may be why you always pick the wrong, kind of man to be in your life, because you're trying to finish mom's unfinished business. It's just so remarkable when you can just start listening to the person's symptoms or the diagnosis, and you look in the book and you ask the person, does this sound like you? And they're like, oh my gosh, it's dead on. It's dead on. The lymphatic system has a lot to do with feeling stuck.
There you go.
You're kind of in a rut, you're stuck. And so the lymphatic fluid becomes very thick and congested. Where you have lymphedema can tell you more, like if you have a patient where you have lymphedema in the right arm, it could make you feel like you've been devalued and attacked. And so that's why you're trying to protect yourself from someone. So the body, it tells you what's going on if you just slow down long enough to listen to it. If you're losing your vision, what is it that you don't want to see? What in your life do you not want to see? If you can't hear as well, what do you not want to hear? If you have chronic sinusitis, what is in your life that's a stinky situation that you wish wasn't there? So you just start learning these things, and you can figure it out yourself. And it's amazing once you identify the trapped emotions, your body releases it, the symptom goes away.
So is the emotion trapped in the lymphatic system, or is the emotion trapped in the body in the different healing or chakra parts of the body?
It can be both. Yeah, it definitely can be both. You can have emotions that get trapped into a tissue. You can have it get trapped into the entire system where the energetic flow is cut off. So it could be either or.
Well, it's amazing. Once again, the last time you were on, we barely dipped a toe in, and now again, it's really interesting. So let's talk about the Zyto. If anybody's interested in doing the Zyto, they can just call you.
Sure.
Okay, and that's 404 474 2100. Let me do that again. 404 474 2100. And of course, Florida is 407. So then there's a 7 after the 4. It's like, oh, my eyes are just jumping all over the place. But this is called the Zyto Cradle.
Yes.
And you will send it out. Is there a cost for sending it out? Do you put
you just have to do a deposit, and you get your deposit back when it's returned. That's it.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. And so we put the hand on our cradle. Is it the left hand or the right hand?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter with the Zyto. You can do either or. You can actually, with children, if their hands are tiny, you can put both hands on it. You just have to be covering with the skin surface all of the metal prongs. And so we can test very small children up to geriatrics. So It's a great tool to give you a picture of your whole body, whereas just taking blood pressure or just the traditional vital signs only gives you a small glimpse of what's going on, and things have to be really awry for something to show up with just the normal vital signs. This is an in-depth test of what's going on in the body from the emotional standpoint all the way to the physical. So you're going to see everything in between. And it even gets, more precise, like you saw, that there's inflammation here and then this organ or gland. As you get through the test, you'll see it'll test for viruses, bacteria, molds and funguses, environmental toxins. You can see all of that. So, and it's not just going to say it's bacteria. It's going to say it's Borrelia, it's Bartonella, it's Clostridium. It's going to tell me exactly what bacteria is affecting that area of the body.
How does it know this? How does it know?
Your brain knows everything that's going on with your body and knows how to correct it. So you just tap into the function of the brain. It's called computerized kinesiology. You have the ability to ask your body these questions and get a physical response. That's kinesiology. This is computerized kinesiology, so we can test thousands of things at one time and get a response back. It's galvanic skin response. So your heart rate will change. As you put the stimuli into the central nervous system, things will shift in the body, and that's what it's measuring, those subtle changes in your body, so we can tell if it's something acute or something chronic that's out of balance. So it's very detailed. I mean, I think people don't realize how detailed this is. I have been doing biofeedback for over 20 years. And I do follow it up with blood work and other
Yeah, I
traditions.
was going to ask you, what do you do afterwards?
But I will tell you, of everything that I do, I trust the biofeedback more than anything, because it will point me in the right direction every time. I had a case I will share with you a few years back where the patient had severe ringing in the ears and was basically disabled from vertigo, and had went to every mainstream doctor, every specialist, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And he had been out of work for 8 months. He's a mechanic. And so when his wife brought him in, because men don't typically.
Probably kicking and screaming.
Yeah. He came in. Well, he was desperate at that time.
Oh.
And so he came in, I tested him, and what showed up was a chemical toxin. And so I ran a chemical panel, and the first thing that came up was gasoline. And I looked at him and I said, well, that's weird. You know, it says that your toxin is gasoline. Does that make sense to you? And he just went, hell. He said, Jennifer, do you know that I'm a mechanic? And about 3 months prior to, 2 or 3 months prior to this happening, I ran out of degreaser. So I just started washing my hands in gasoline every day. And then shortly after it built up in his body, it started causing the severe vertigo, first ringing in the ears and then the severe vertigo every single day. And he had had every test done. I could have never figured that out just by, asking him questions. I wouldn't have thought to ask him, do you wash your body in
gasoline?
But because it showed me that, we were able to discover it. And because we were able to discover it, we detoxed him. And this is 8-9 months after his exposure, because he's been disabled since then. When we did the laser energetic detox after the lymphatic, the office reeked of gasoline.
No way.
It took about 5 sessions before it no longer was coming out of his pores. And yeah, so, that's the beauty of it. It can be that we don't call it a diagnostic tool because it's, it's not mainstream traditional, but it is definitely a great, Dr. Cowan, what's he call it? A great game changer or guesser. It always puts us on the right path. Mm-hmm. And I believe, just like he believes, that, if you get one yes possibility, then you follow it with other things. If you have 3 different diagnostic tests saying the same thing, you're right on target.
That's amazing.
So in 20 years of using this, I've not known the Zyto to be wrong. Where I have seen blood work, give me false positives and negatives, and different types of, I had a patient come in the other day. I did a strep test on. They had it done just a day before at the urgent care. It was negative. When I did it, it was positive. It was positive the day before. It was just an inaccurate test. And so, you can't just trust mainstream to be 100%. It's never 100%. Mm-hmm. Zyto's not 100%, but it's like 97% accurate in the anatomy and physiology, about 88 on the emotional panel. And I have found it to be much more accurate than that.
Well, this is amazing. I'm looking forward to maybe let's do this one again, because I want to go through it, not so much to go into a lot of detail, but to just see how it affects me in my life, and how people could use this as a tool or as a roadmap back to health. Because many of us, like you said, and we know that our body was created to heal. Mm-hmm. It's only when we intervene with unnatural means that we become, the body becomes powerless. Mm-hmm. And so we need to give our body back its power to do what it needs to do, by the way we feed it, by the way we build it, by the way we, think, sleep, hydrate. There's so many different things that we can do to make our body just exactly what it was supposed to be. And I know that there are people that are born with certain conditions, but even people that are born with different conditions, Dr. Gramith, are you able to help them improve on their conditions?
Most definitely. And you can be born with genetic flaws, but it's amazing how the body can compensate for those. And so as long as you support the other systems of the body that would be compensating, you can stop that disease process from rapidly progressing. And so there's so much you can do. So, but the majority of the chronic disease process is not the genetic. That's less than 5%
Yeah.
of the population.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's what we do. It's what's at the end of our fork. It's how we think. It's the lack of movement. You know, so if you were just focused, I mean, there's lots of things you can do, but if you just focus on 3 little steps, you know, getting your diet healthier. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be healthier. Getting the nutrients the body needs and thinking right, exercising, moving, and then supporting your immune system, your lymphatic system. You do that, you've pretty much blown the battle right out of the water, because you can reverse most disease processes from just those 3 little steps. So it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very simple. Start with a simple, because that's going to knock it off about 75 to 85% of the inflammation and the chronic weakness in the body. And I've seen it over and over again.
And you know, I've shared this before, that, you know, there was a time where I thought I was healthy, just absolutely healthy. And I remember I was challenged. I've shared this story before. I was challenged to go raw vegan for 1 month. And I said, bring it. I can do anything for 1 month. And I for 4 days in, I was like, gosh, I feel really good. Energy. I had all this, it was like I was a new person. And all of a sudden I thought, well, I didn't feel bad. I just didn't know I could feel better. Many of us think this is it. This is as good as it gets. And that's a lie.
Yes.
We don't know what we don't know unless we try something different and new. And so I'm not a vegan anymore, but I'm a whole food plant-based nutritarian that, you know, feels that if I see that something is making me feel better, I'm going to gravitate for that, because nothing is worth me being ill.
Right.
Nothing is more important than my health.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's not a selfish thing at all. Because a lot of people, a lot of women especially, struggle with taking care of themselves because they think that it's being selfish. It is not being selfish. If you do not take care of yourself, you're at no good for anyone else. And so if your heart is to serve others, you better take care of yourself first and foremost. And so that's something that I deal with, especially in the South, you know, because we're Southern belles. We're taught from a very young age to serve to the point of becoming a martyr. You know, if you become a martyr, you know, that's great. No, that's not. And we've got to reprogram, you know, and your comment about people thinking that they're healthy. That's a little bit of the denial thing, because, you know, you go to the doctor and they're just like, you're getting older. And you're like, okay. And so you don't want to take the responsibility, whether it's conscious or subconscious. There's a block there. And we don't necessarily want to take that responsibility because it requires so much change in our life. Because it seems overwhelming. Because if you have a patient in front of you and you say, you know, you got to go raw vegan, you got to do this, and they're like, they feel like they had a fire hose sprayed at them of all this information, and they're like, I can't do it, and so they give up. And so I try not to do that. I want them to just take a step a day, just get better every day, just a little bit better every day. And, you know, at the end of, you know, a couple of months, you're going to be almost to the top of that mountain looking back, and you're like, going to be like you. Oh my God, I didn't know I could feel this good.
Yeah. Well, it completely changed. It completely changed me, because I thought, man, if food can make me feel this good, what else is out there? Right. And I mean, I've been lied to my whole life about nutrition and hydration and, pills. I thought if you wanted to get better, you took a pill. That, I had no power.
Right.
My power was all gone. And so once you start realizing, whoa, you mean I have the power to feel better by what I choose to eat?
You're not supposed to tell people that.
Well,
because that's what mainstream medicine does not want. And it's not the doctors, it's not the nurses. It is pharmaceutical, and it's the industry. It's not one person, it's just the industry, because we have trained people into thinking that they have a symptom, there's a pill, let's get a quick fix. That is the worst thing we did for humanity, is to do that. And I'm not saying, because I still believe in mainstream medicine when it's in its place, which
Sure,
is emergency
absolutely.
medicine.
Yeah.
But we have terrible success with chronic illness. We're one of the worst with chronic illness.
Yeah.
And so if you want health, you don't go to your mainstream doctor, you go to them for an emergency situation. If you want to build health, you've got to become your own doctor, and you can get the assistance from practitioners like myself, get into groups that people who have overcome chronic illness, maybe the one that you're dealing with, that can motivate you and encourage you, because you need that encouragement, and just kind of help guide you, because you need to get that control back. The doctors work for you. I used to tell, when I was a nurse, I would tell patients, I said, you can fire them if you don't like what they're saying. Because I worked for cardiologists, oncologists, and they're in the room and they're back out, because they have to see 40 patients after having surgery all morning to meet the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
So we're running them through like a herd of cattle, and they're frustrated, and they're sharing with me, well, I need to tell them this and tell them that. And I'm, well, you're just going to have to tell me, because they just don't have the time. And
Mm-hmm.
and they would get very frustrated. And I said, you don't have to put up with that. You can find a doctor that will listen to you. They work for you. It's not the other way around. You sign their paycheck. So,
It's absolutely true.
yeah.
And, again, that's our upbringing, that, don't, you want to look good. You just want to look good. You don't want to say something that might offend anybody, or, that is more important. And so it's good for us during this time. Some of the good things that have happened, that's to slow down people, to clean up their closets, to clean their drawers, to clean their cars, to clean out. But now they're running out of things to clean. Now it's time to clean our bodies and purify whatever is happening and within us. And I love this tool. I want to encourage all of you to go check out, if you are a subscriber, this week's today's date, you can go on there, and all of Dr. Gramith's information is there. And even her last class that she did back in March, I believe, she did a class. And so she's back, and hopefully she'll come back again, and we'll continue to learn more and more and more about how to take our health back. So thank you, Dr. Gramith, for everything that you do to empower us.
Thank you, Lillian. You're awesome.
Oh, right back at you. Okay, so it's time to say goodbye, everybody. And thank you for joining us today. Help us, like us, share this broadcast or broad class, and make sure that you help us grow. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. And you too.